Are field events dying in East Africa? What is the situation in Kenya? We will be looking at that in this program, Setting the Pace. Plus, today we unveil the freshly minted, yet another online sensation, an athlete that has made his name training all by himself online. Is he a Twitter or a Facebook athlete? Plus, what is the future of field events across the region? Hello and welcome. This is Setting the Pace. They may have stopped running, but they are making headlines all around the world. Kenyan runner Priska Jeptoo caused a major upset at the Bupa Great North Run in Newcastle when she beat Ethiopian superstars Meseret Dufar and Tirunesh Dibaba and clocked 1 hour 5 minutes and 45 seconds, the third fastest time ever over the distance. In a dramatic sprint finish in the men's race, Kenenisa Bekele beat double Olympic champion Mo Farah by a mere 1 second on the former half marathon's debut. The 10,000 meters world record holder from Ethiopia clocked 1 hour and 9 seconds after Farah had closed him down in the final 400 meters but could not pass Bekele. Elsewhere, one of the key pace setters for this year's Berlin Marathon, Bernard Kitur, outsprinted more than 4,300 runners to win the 2013 edition of the Ndakaini Half Marathon in Thika, Kenya, in a time of 1 hour 4 minutes and 47 seconds, with Leonard Koech coming second a split second later. In the women's race, Sarah Chepchirchir won in a time of 1 hour 14 minutes and 35 seconds, with Gladys Kipsoi coming home second, a minute faster than third-placed Caroline Cheptanui. Elsewhere, the 11th edition of the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon will have new routes for all runners. The event, slated for 27th October 2013, has been approved by the IAAF and sanctioned by Athletics Kenya and will have rigorous anti-doping control measures. The organizers also revealed during the launch that they expect to register more runners this year.
In numbers last year we had about 21,000 runners, and this year we're looking at 23,000 runners. I think my advice is please register early. I believe in the last few years, in the last week of registration, we've registered almost a quarter of the runners. So it is inconveniencing, and I think registering early also gives one a commitment. You're committed to run, and therefore you will probably train with more commitment and perform better.
Has East Africa totally forgotten about the field events and other combined events in the world of athletics? What is the situation in Kenya? Is it any better in Uganda or in Tanzania? If then, why did we not see quite a lot of these two countries, Uganda and Tanzania, in the World Championships in athletics just ended in Moscow a few weeks ago? Let me just put that question to my panelist here, and from my immediate left is Caroline Kohler, the 1996 African heptathlon champion, and a person who says probably she can still go back to the track at this particular point to compete. I don't know whether she still has a personal best, or can you do that?
I can do that if I'm given time to do, because I'm still strong, and I hope if Athletics Kenya gives me that support, I can still do it.
Ayumba Ayodi also joins us in the studio. Is a writer with the Kenya's largest circulating paper, the Daily Nation. He also writes for the sister publication Sporton as a senior writer. Ayumba Ayodi, many thanks indeed for joining us here on Setting the Pace.
Yeah, thank you so much. It feels great to come here and talk about athletics, and also sitting next to one of our athletics legend, especially.
I mean, you think she can go back to the track?
Yeah, never say never.
What do you think would be her personal best?
It depends. It depends if she wants to go to javelin, to shot put, or heptathlon. It's her. I mean, if she follows her heart, she'll get what she wants.
We will come back to her shortly with that. Ayumba, let me start with you. Yes. After the conclusion of the World Championships in athletics, you wrote a very incisive piece in the Daily Nation saying the field Kenya's race really starts in 800 meters, and the field events have been totally forgotten. What informed your writing?
I really didn't need, it's not a rocket science to really go back to how Kenya has been performing in field events. I zeroed in on the Africa Championship. If we were to go back to actually we started winning back in 1979.
Right.
In field events when Eunice Wekesa won silver in javelin. And then we performed so well, and then everything started going under, let's say in 1998, 2000, 2002, that is where we didn't get any medal. I can say maybe 1982 and 1990 is when we had the best performance in field events, and especially from our ladies, where we won in 1982, we won actually 2 gold in decathlon and long jump. That is in men and women. And then in 1990, Samson Welike won shot put gold in men, and Seraphine Nyauma won gold in javelin. But since then, after she won gold in 1996, that's it. Now
did you run away with everything that was in the field? Did you run with the equipment? Did you run with the time? Or what happened after you left?
I didn't run with the time, nor did I run away with the equipment, except that Athletics Kenya has never put so much effort in training the athletes.
And you're saying this as a person who has won African Championship in heptathlon?
Yeah, I'm saying that as a person who has won that in a continental gold medal. But since then, nobody has been given a chance to prove themselves.
Would you say, Kola, that ever since the years that Ayumba Ayodi has outlined, that this sport has been totally forgotten, at least in Kenya?
It has been forgotten because after completing my combined events coach level 2 in Mauritius is when I came and pressurized Mr. Kiplagat, the chairman of Athletics Kenya, is when at least in 2006 when people were going for Melbourne Games, they decided to put it in the trials. We had Chepsongol who was supposed to go, then he was disappointed the last minute, he never went.
Ayumba Ayodi, I want to come to you and make reference to an article you've written just about 3 days ago, and which is still a subject of a very heavy discussion. You mentioned that in Kenya, field events and events other than the key races that Kenya take part in really has been totally forgotten, and in fact athletes are now succeeding on their own without any help from federation, from anyone basically.
Exactly. Just a good example is about our javelin thrower, our Africa and All African Games champion, Julius Yego, who almost silenced the Luzhniki Stadium when he was actually in the medal bracket only for the Russian to throw his last chance to win bronze. Before he won the gold, the All African Games gold in 2011 in Maputo, he was actually training alone. He pleaded for the management to give him a coach. Nobody gave him. This time around, he has been training in Finland. Then he came back home. He actually wrote to Athletics Kenya to provide him with a coach, a local coach, but they never did that. It's after the media brought his case to attention that he was given Mosonic the last 2 days.
That was actually your peers that made Athletics Kenya to give him a coach.
Exactly. And they were not doing that. So you wonder how, and especially if Athletics Kenya was serious, I'm very sure someone like Sami Kesikeny should have accompanied Yego, not as his coach, but as Kenya's other participant. Look at when Yego was preparing for the Olympics. Was this not for his coach, the Finland coach Petroni, who insisted on him staying in Finland, I doubt if Yego could have even made history to reach the Olympics final.
And I'm going to come back to you, Ayumba Ayodi, again, because there's something you have said that I want to pick it up
Yes.
on later. And just before, Kola, how many other Julius Yegos are out there struggling on their own, no support, and they are in need of help?
There are so many Yegos who are outside there. And I believe if the Kenya Athletics Kenya is really serious about it, we have coaches. It's not that we don't have coaches. There are so many coaches who are trained and are willing. But there's no way you are going to train an athlete where there are no facilities, especially the field events. You need the exact track where the athlete is going to train.
Well, we're going to come back to that and ask where the equipment that were procured in the Africa Championship in 2010 were. But here is a case of just another man. In fact, they now call him the YouTube Athlete B. And he has just proven himself during the just concluded 11th edition of the Africa Junior Championships in Mauritius.
I'm Alexander Kiprotich, javelin thrower. I'm 19 years old. I discovered my talent while I was in school. I managed to go up to nationals level. My best throw in javelin is 75 meters. This year, I want to make sure that I break this record of mine, which is 75 meters and above. I'm aiming to break this African junior record. So after that, I want to qualify for the next year Commonwealth Games. My nickname is YouTube B. Yego is YouTube A. Julius Yego has supported me. He assisted me how to handle this javelin, how to throw. He has even assisted me with the facilities. I don't have a coach. I just train myself. I normally watch YouTube, and even I see when he throws javelin, I just watch, see how he is using his technique.
They are not forgotten because even last week in the African Junior in Mauritius, one of our junior athletes won the javelin, and in triple champ we got a silver medal. So I can tell you in the hurdles, 400 meters, I think we also got a silver medal. That tells you that the field and the sprints are coming.
In 5 years' time, I want to make sure that I break this Julius Yego's record. I want to make sure I throw 90 and above.
Alexander Kiprotich, the freshly minted Africa Junior Javelin champion. Another story coming virtually out of nowhere, at least in as far as field events in Kenya is concerned. And Caroline Kola, you have met this young man. What do you think about the talent he's exhibited so far in Africa?
In fact, Kenya, we have so many talents, except that we don't want to exploit them. Alexander is a very humble guy. You talk to him, he listens to you. And somebody who listens to somebody when he gives the advice is somebody who really wants to learn.
Where did that young man come from? And are there so many, Ayumba Ayodi, that you have come across that you probably want to share exclusive with us here on Setting the Pace?
Yeah, there are so many. Apart from Alexander, I mean, like Sami Kesikeny, who won silver in 2010. He's not old. Huh? He's not old. The thing is, he's never been given that chance to prove himself. A person like Julius Yego we are talking about, you remember, he was left out. He actually qualified for the World Junior Championship in 2008. He was left out. He really cried outside the Nyayo Stadium. But he said, I'll prove to them that I'll make it. If you can't give a youngster chance to perform, then which other stage will you give him? Just besides Alexander, there's a triple jump, Ruto Kiplagat, who won silver. Then what next? It's upon Athletics Kenya to come up with a serious program, not for the field, not for the track and middle and long distance track events, but also for the sprints and field events.
Madam Kola, let me ask you, How much has we, perhaps, as Kenya, probably have lost in terms of opportunity cost by failing to give emphasis to field events the same way we're giving emphasis on 1,500, 800, 5,000, 10,000, and even marathon? Why did we cry so much as a country when Uganda won the marathon? Did we lose other gold medal in field events for which we should have fielded people?
I believe we lost some other medals which we would have won. Like, take for granted Chepseba. Chepseba was a very good triple jumper and long jumper when he was in school. But because of that trend that field events is not being given a chance, he decided to switch to 1,500. So I believe there are so many other raw talents there which can be tapped and be trained.
Where are the equipment, someone would ask, that were procured during the 2010 Africa Championships in athletics here in Nairobi?
That is another thing. Before the 2010 Africa Championship, Kola will bear me witness. The equipment Yego was using, the likes of Yego, Jerotich, the high jumper who won bronze during the 2010. Before that, they were using equipment that was used decades ago in 1980, 87 All African Games. The mats, the wooden javelin, I mean, surely.
And Kola, whose responsibility is it here to develop this sport?
Athletics Kenya has the right to develop athletics because that's why the association is there. If you're not going to develop athletics, then you're not worth being in that place. Because we have raw talents who should be brought forward and trained so that we get more medals.
What would you like to see in 2014 during the Commonwealth Games?
In Commonwealth, I'd like Athletics Kenya. I'm asking them as a coach who is concerned about sprints and field events and combined events. Let them give the athletes a chance. Even Americans never used to run the long distance runners, but you can see them now getting into long distance runners and they're winning. So we should not forget about sprints and the combined events. We have so many talents.
During the national championship, just a week before the national trials, their target was to qualify for the world championship. Come the national championship, they saw the electronic timing machine, the setup was done. But after the race, they're told the machine were not working.
Do we as Kenya even have the equipment now to measure anything that is done in the fields?
That is the thing. That is the other thing. We have, like that one for 2010, it's actually the outdated machines. We need to change with the time. If we can't get the machine, let's send our athletes to other countries like in West Africa for them to qualify. I believe we could have even qualified 4 sprinters in 200 and 400 meters.
What do you envisage yourself writing in 2014 when we are speaking about field events and the Commonwealth Games? I've given you something to write about.
My pleasure, my glory will be writing Yego winning the Commonwealth Games gold medal, the likes of Muresa, the likes of Nyang'au, the Nyang'au's the son, winning in gold in 200 meters. That is the story that will captivate people. That is the story we'll sell. But
I see where you're going with that. I see that comment right there. And Kola, as we wind up, you were the champion in 1996. Nothing really much has changed during your time. It's a shame, many people would say. Going forward, what opportunity exists? Very briefly, do we have the coaches and what are we missing in Kenya?
We have the coaches, but they're not given the chance to exploit exactly what they have. Because we also have the athletes, but combined events, field events, and all the rest, you have to train them in the field.
Do we have as many ladies now taking up combined events and field events?
They have started coming up back because I really initiated it so that it could be back in the program.
Very well. Ayumba, you write a lot. Let me just ask you something very personal, yes, Ayumba. Yes. And you have traveled a lot, Ayumba. Ayumba, how was your first date? When you went out on your first date, how was it?
Which date are you talking about? About the athletics?
No, not athletics. You personal. When you took the lady out, how was your first date? In just one word. I know you write a lot, Ayumba. Just one word.
Very interesting.
I don't think I need to ask you about
Very
it.
interesting.
I'm going to ask you, where is this place you have traveled during the course of your traveling that you have liked so much outside Kenya?
Outside Kenya, I would say Mauritius was my first.
And why?
Mauritius, they are friendly people.
Very well. The reason I asked you all that is because
Sega dance? Is this because of the dance, the lovely Sega?
you're going to have to watch this, Ayumba Yodi and many others. This is a segment we introduce here on Setting the Pace, knowing our athletes over and above their running and their gold medal. Here is that segment.
My favorite watch is Omega. The first make of my car was a Toyota. I started making my money about $300 a race. I bought myself a watch that costed me 400,000 Kenya shillings. My first win was when I was a junior athlete. I ran in one small race in Italy and I won it. My first date was a disaster. I'm a cowboy. Always you find me with cowboy stuff. My favorite movie is 24. That runs for 24 hours and it's the best. I'm reading 48 Laws of Power. Wilfred Bungei is a good listener. I do listen before I act. My memorable place in Kenya is Masai Mara. The cheapest thing that I do own is a pencil, and it costed me 10 shillings. My best moments was realizing that I am an alcoholic and therefore I don't need to drink. And I would say that is why there is Wilfred Bungei now, but as an AA member, I don't drink.
Are you likely to write about Kenya the way Russia was written this year when they won most of their goals not from the track but in field events?
From the way things are, if we continue that way, we won't write a story on that. But I have faith after what Yogo has done. I think everybody has woken up. I want to see like 6 or 7 sprinters at the Commonwealth. I want to see the same number at the World Championship on to Rio. Athletics Kenya, they've talked about employing a coach. Why should we even go out looking for coaches to train our Kenyan athletes when the coaches, local coaches, are the ones who are making them perform so well? Why should they go shopping out when we are not utilizing our own coaches?
Ayumba Yodi, I'm not going to invite you next in this program. You're very passionate about what you write, and it's always a pleasure to come, for you to come here and share with our viewers here on Setting the Pace. So thank you very much, and also congratulations belatedly to the 1996 champion in heptathlon, Caroline Cole, and thank you very much indeed for coming. So, are they the forgotten lot, those that take part in field events and other combined events? Well, members of the public weigh in on this.
The major problem is exposure, because when you talk about the other field events, like around here, I don't think there is that exposure. I think that is what is, apart from what you are exposed to when you are in school, primary school, say, and a bit of secondary school. Some of these things, you never see them again.
I think it's all about interest, and I think it's all about what people think about it. I think if people would put effort in it, like they've put in athletics and in all that, they will still do that.
The history of Kenya is in the track, so we don't have the history about the other field events. So we have that perception in us, and even when you're growing up, we don't want to practice the other field events. We are used to the track, and we believe we can only perform in the tracks.
Well, I would like to thank many of you who have written to us here at Zuku Sports, and indeed we have received your request to feature certain athletes and issues in these episodes of Setting the Pace. And I'm just going to tell you to keep watching Setting the Pace here on Zuku Sports as we will put your request into action. Well, that's it this week in this program, Setting the Pace. Thank you so very much indeed for watching and for your invaluable feedback. My name is Sadiq Shaban. On behalf of the team, goodbye for now.